Lap 115. Bubba Wallace is leading. The field is packed tight at Talladega Superspeedway, one of the most unforgiving tracks in American motorsport. And then, in what can only be described as a blink, 26 of 40 cars are gone, destroyed, done. In less than 3 seconds, nearly the entire NASCAR Cup Series field was wiped out in one of the most catastrophic pileups the sport has ever witnessed. But here is the question that every NASCAR fan, analyst, and driver is asking right now. Who is actually to blame? And why does NASCAR keep allowing this to happen? Talladega Superspeedway is not just any racetrack. Stretching 2.66 miles around a banked oval in Alabama, it is the longest track on the NASCAR Cup Series schedule, and historically, the most dangerous. Cars routinely reach speeds exceeding 200 miles per hour, drafting in tight packs where one wrong move can, and does, take out half the field. It is the birthplace of the Big One, a term NASCAR fans know all too well. And on Sunday, April 26, 2026, Talladega delivered its most dramatic chapter yet. The race was the Jack Links 500, and NASCAR had tried something different this weekend. In an attempt to address fan complaints about drivers running at partial throttle to conserve fuel, officials restructured the stage format, pushing all the fuel saving into the first stage, so that the second and third stages could be run at full throttle. On paper, it sounded like a solution. In practice, it became a catastrophe. Bubba Wallace, driving the number 23 Toyota Camry for 23X-Line Racing, had executed a smart pit strategy late in Stage 1. With little fuel needed, his stop was quick, and he came out at the front of the field when Stage 2 began. Wallace had actually led the 2.66-mile track on 3 separate occasions before the crash. He was in control. Behind him, running directly in his wake, was Ross Chastain. Lap 115. Stage 2 had barely gotten underway. The field was running full throttle, packed bumper to bumper. Chastain was pushing hard down the backstretch, connected with Ryan Blaney and Joey Logano behind him, the train of cars building speed. Then Chastain made contact, a bump draft on Wallace, and everything fell apart instantly. The shove sent Wallace's number 23 Toyota sideways, toward the outside safer barrier, directly in front of Cole Custer. Custer swerved down the track in avoidance, but the 3-wide pack of cars converged together all at once. What followed was a smoke screen of carnage through Turn 3. Cars had nowhere to go. Drivers locked their brakes. Metal met metal at racing speed. The red flag came out at lap 116, and the race was stopped for 10 minutes to clear the debris. When the dust settled, the damage was historic. Officially, 26 of the 40 cars on track had been collected in the incident. Only 4 cars came around under speed to complete the lap without damage. The drivers who could not continue included Bubba Wallace, Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano, Austin Cindric, Brad Keselowski, Kyle Larson, William Byron, Chase Briscoe, Daniel Suarez, Denny Hamlin, Josh Berry, Cole Custer, Eric Jones, John Hunter Nemechek, Jesse Love, Connor Zilisch, Carson Hocevar, Shane Van Gisbergen, Joey Gase, Chad Fincham, and Cody Ware, among others. All drivers were evaluated and released from the infield care center. There were no reported injuries. Now here is where the story gets complicated, because 3 different versions of events emerged after the wreck, and they don't all line up. Version 1 came from the team radio. Immediately after the crash, Wallace told his team plainly, "He wrecked me." No ambiguity. Direct blame on Chastain. Version 2 came minutes later when Wallace spoke to FOX's Jamie Little outside the infield care center. Gone was the finger-pointing. In its place was a full reversal. Damn, nothing to show for it in the first stage. Just trying to figure out the strategy stuff and just hate it for our team. Don't want to have any DNFs. We have 2 now. Just a bummer, but we gotta figure out how to be pushed better. So, I take responsibility on that. We'll have a good debrief and figure out what we can do to make our Toyotas be pushed better, and maybe not have that happen. That is a complete 180 from what he told his own crew. Version 3 adds another layer entirely. Before that interview even aired, Wallace had been waiting and waiting for Fox to put him on camera. He was overheard saying, "Well, I dozed off waiting on you so long." Little responded, "There was a lot to do." When Fox aired the interview on its social media channels, that complaint was quietly cut from the video. No explanation was given. So the question stands, which Bubba Wallace do you believe? The one on the radio blaming Chastain, or the one standing in front of the cameras taking responsibility? But while the blame game played out in the paddock, several drivers made it clear that neither Wallace nor Chastain is the root of the problem. The real issue, according to multiple Cup Series veterans, is the next-gen car itself. Ryan Blaney was direct in his assessment after the race. "I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, obviously, I'd like a change to the race car. I think we can be better at these speedways, just how the car races, and just try to be not as all on top of each other, and just running through each other, and stuff like that. I mean, I've obviously got my hand up wanting to make a change. Because you said it perfectly, we're either fuel saving or we're running all over each other, just because that's what this car is. And that's how you go forward. You're running through, and it's however hard you can push somebody. The cars are pretty unstable in the back. They kind of get tank swapping or they get ping-ponging and they just can't take it." Joey Logano, a three-time Cup Series champion and three-time Talladega winner whose day ended in the crash, used a simple analogy to explain the physics at play. "Just we got round bumpers and unstable cars and cars that you're able to pop the bubble real easy and get to each other's bumpers. But when you get there, you've got to be careful because they're not stable. It's like pushing two basketballs against each other. It's not going to push straight. They're not two bricks." Alex Bowman, who ultimately finished third, went further. He stated that solving the super speedway problem is going to take a massive change, whether that means addressing downforce, horsepower, drag, or tires. Because of the next-gen car's excessive aerodynamic drag, it is virtually impossible for any driver to pull out of line and form a new lane. You exit the draft and you simply stop moving forward. That reality left the entire final run locked into a 2x2 formation with no passing, no racing, and no options. NASCAR's format experiment had effectively compressed all the danger into one moment. Fuel saving through stage 1, then full throttle in stage 2. And within 15 laps, the entire field was in pieces. Out of the wreckage came an unlikely champion. Carson Hocevar, driving the number 77 Chevrolet for Spire Motorsports, survived the chaos, led for 19 total laps, and held off Chris Buescher at the line to claim his first career NASCAR Cup Series victory. It was a result nobody saw coming from a smaller team on the grid. Hocevar's victory speech was one of pure emotion. "I'm just so thankful. This is the biggest dream I've ever thought of. Thank you, everybody. I couldn't have done it any better way. Hopefully, my grandfather is watching. My grandmother died last year, and I'm just so thankful I can give my grandfather a trophy now. Just unbelievable. I'm just so thankful." Meanwhile, Kyle Busch's number 8 Richard Childress Racing Team made repairs on pit road and clawed back to finish 10th. Tyler Reddick, who had won 5 of the season's opening 9 races, including the previous week at Kansas Speedway, suffered damage in the crash, then cut a right front tire and hit the wall again at lap 182, yet still recovered to finish 15th. History tells us that Talladega has always been capable of producing moments like this, but 2026 pushed the boundaries even further. The 26-car pileup is one of the largest in NASCAR Cup Series history. However, the all-time record for most cars involved in a single crash still belongs to a 2002 Busch Series race, also at Talladega, where 31 vehicles were collected. The pattern is undeniable. Talladega produces the big one with regularity, but the frequency and scale under the next-gen car era has amplified every concern drivers have been raising for years. So what changes now? According to Blaney, not much. At least not immediately. I don't really see it changing this year at all. I don't think you can during the middle of the year. I mean, you could, but I feel like hopefully that Speed Week's deal in January, we can try a lot of stuff out. The preseason Thunder test in January has been floated as the earliest realistic window for NASCAR to experiment with potential fixes. Wallace, for his part, said he plans to move forward. His focus shifts to Texas Motor Speedway next, where he hopes to put Talladega behind him and find results his 23-volley racing team badly needs. But the larger question lingers over the entire sport. NASCAR's own drivers, Blaney, Logano, Bowman, Larson, Elliott, have all raised their hands. They've used clear language. They've given specific diagnoses. NASCAR had an entire offseason to address the next-gen car's instability at super speedways. They did not. And on April 26, 2026, 26 drivers paid the price for it. So tell us in the comments, whose fault is it really? Chastain, Wallace, or NASCAR itself? If NASCAR won't fix this, at least hit that follow button so you don't miss what happens next at Texas.